Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to speak about something that has puzzled and challenged powerful nations for decades. The question is not just about strength weapons or political strategies, it's deeper than that. It's about identity, history, and the soul of a people. Iran, a country that has been sanctioned, isolated, and targeted by some of the most powerful nations on earth, still stands tall. Despite endless attempts to weaken it, Iran remains unbroken, and the reason lies not in its missiles, but in its spirit. For over 4 decades, the West has tried to bend Iran to its will. Economic sanctions have crushed economies elsewhere. Military pressure has brought down regimes in other regions. Media campaigns have turned nations against themselves. But Iran continues to resist, and this resistance is not just a matter of politics. It's a matter of national pride, cultural heritage, and unshakable belief. The Iranian people have been through revolutions, wars, and decades of economic hardship, yet they continue to walk with their heads held high, deeply rooted in a history that stretches back thousands of years. One of the most powerful weapons Iran has is unity. Despite internal differences, when foreign pressure mounts, the people unite. This unity is not imposed. It is born from a shared memory of colonial manipulation, foreign interference, and betrayal. Every Iranian child grows up knowing the history of how Western powers once controlled their oil, their economy, and even their leaders. That history has left scars, but also strength. It has taught generations to never forget where they come from and to never allow history to repeat itself. The culture of sacrifice also plays a huge role in Iran's endurance. The Iran-Iraq War in the 1980s showed the world just how far Iranians would go to defend their land. Teenagers walked through minefields. Families gave their sons to the battlefield with prayers, not tears. That war was not just a military conflict, it was a national act of resistance. It built a psychological wall around the country, a belief that no matter how hard the storm hits, they can withstand it. That belief is still alive today. Religion and ideology give Iran a purpose that goes beyond politics. The belief in standing against oppression, the idea of being the voice of the voiceless in the Muslim world, gives Iran a mission. Whether one agrees or not, it cannot be denied that this belief fuels its strength. The leadership is not only political, it is also spiritual. That connection between people and ideology creates a bond that foreign governments cannot break. When people believe they are fighting for something sacred, they become impossible to defeat. Iran also understands the game of geopolitics better than most. It has built alliances not through wealth but through shared struggle. From Lebanon to Iraq to Syria to Yemen, it has created a web of support that stretches far beyond its borders. These alliances are not just political, they are emotional, rooted in shared resistance and the pain of war. No missile can destroy that kind of loyalty. No economic blockade can crush that kind of connection. Finally, Iran's strength comes from its ability to adapt. While sanctions have hurt the economy, they have also made Iran self-reliant. It has developed its own technologies, built its own industries, and taught its youth to innovate rather than depend. What was meant to break Iran only made it stronger. That resilience is something the West continues to underestimate. In the end, the story of Iran is not just about survival. It is about defiance. It is about a people who refuse to be broken, a nation that remembers every insult, every betrayal, and turns pain into power. That is why, despite all efforts, Iran remains the one country the West cannot defeat. Iran's long and complex history is deeply rooted in the hearts of its people, and that history plays a powerful role in shaping their resistance to foreign pressure. This is not just about politics or power struggles. It is about a nation that remembers, a nation that has not forgotten how foreign powers once came in, took control of their resources, manipulated their leaders, and tried to control their destiny. This historical memory is not buried in dusty books. It lives in everyday conversations, in schools, in the stories passed down from parents to children. It fuels a sense of national pride that cannot be easily broken, no matter how intense the pressure. The Persian Empire, which dates back thousands of years, was once one of the most advanced civilizations in the world. That legacy still echoes in the minds of Iranians. They are aware of their rich contributions to art, science, medicine, literature, and governance. This awareness creates a sense of dignity. Even in times of hardship, many Iranians walk with confidence because they know they are part of a lineage that has survived and thrived through the rise and fall of empires. This pride is not just symbolic, It shapes how the people respond to threats and challenges. In the 20th century, Iran experienced foreign interference that left deep scars. The 1953 coup, orchestrated by the United States and Britain, which overthrew Iran's democratically elected Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh, is still a turning point in Iranian collective memory. That event taught Iranians a brutal lesson, that foreign powers will go to great lengths to control Iran's oil and influence its politics. The memory of that betrayal is passed down from generation to generation, making the people more skeptical of outside intentions and more determined to chart their own course, no matter the cost. This historical awareness also gives Iranians a strong sense of justice. When they see foreign nations preaching about freedom while supporting dictators elsewhere or imposing sanctions that harm ordinary citizens, it reinforces their belief that they must remain independent. They view themselves not just as a country trying to survive, but as a symbol of resistance against hypocrisy and injustice. That moral clarity adds strength to their cause. It allows them to endure pain with purpose, knowing they are part of something larger than the moment. Iran's cultural memory is not just about victimhood, it is also about resilience and revival. The Iranian Revolution of 1979 was not just a political change, it was a reclaiming of identity. The people stood up against a regime they believed was serving foreign interests more than its own people. They wanted to shape their future with their own hands, based on their own values. That revolution, no matter how controversial its outcomes, was a powerful declaration that Iran would not be anyone's puppet. Over the years, as sanctions and isolation grew, Iranians leaned even more into their history. It gave them strength when the economy suffered. It gave them patience when the world seemed to turn its back. That unbreakable pride, shaped by centuries of glory and struggle, became a shield. It is not easy to break a people who see themselves as descendants of kings, poets, warriors, and revolutionaries. This connection to the past gives the Iranian people not only a reason to resist, but also the belief that resistance is their duty. In a world where narratives are constantly shifting, Iran's deep-rooted memory acts like an anchor. It keeps the nation grounded in who they are and what they stand for. It reminds them that they have endured worse and come out stronger. And that is why, no matter how powerful the forces against them, Iran does not bend easily. Its people carry the weight of history on their shoulders, and that weight gives them strength. One of the strongest qualities of the Iranian people is their ability to unite in the face of external pressure. Throughout history, Iran has faced political, economic, and military threats from powerful nations. But instead of falling into chaos or division, the people have often come together with even greater determination. This unity is not forced by government or institutions. It comes naturally from a shared understanding of what it means to be Iranian and from the deep awareness of how foreign interference has affected their country in the past. When the outside world tries to pressure Iran, the reaction inside is not fear, but a stronger sense of togetherness. This pattern has repeated itself over the decades. During the Iran-Iraq War in the 1980s, the nation came together despite political, social, and economic difficulties. Young and old, rich and poor, people from different regions and beliefs stood side by side to protect their land. Families sent their sons to the front lines not out of obligation, but because they felt a deep duty to defend their home. That war was brutal, lasting 8 years and taking countless lives, but it also created a sense of national solidarity that still lives on. People still remember how the entire country moved as one, united by pain, sacrifice, and purpose. Even in more recent times, whenever sanctions are tightened or foreign leaders speak against Iran, the people often respond not with rebellion against their own government, but with defiance against those trying to harm them. Economic hardship hits everyone. Yet many Iranians view it as a shared struggle rather than an individual burden. This shared hardship actually strengthens the bond between people. It creates a collective mindset where the pain is not just personal, but national, and that transforms suffering into unity. Iran's internal diversity is often misunderstood by outsiders. It has many ethnic groups, languages, and traditions. There are Kurds, Persians, Azeris, Arabs, Baluchis, and others. Yet, when the country is threatened, those differences often fade into the background. The identity of being Iranian becomes the most important thing. This unspoken code of unity under pressure is one of Iran's strongest defenses. It makes it difficult for foreign powers to divide and weaken the country from within, which is a tactic often used in global politics. The Iranian sense of unity is also emotional. It is built on shared memories of betrayal, resilience, and victory. When foreign nations attempt to destabilize Iran, they usually underestimate the emotional strength of the people. They fail to understand that each family has its own story of loss, pride, and resistance. These stories are passed down, creating a national memory that binds people together more tightly than any political slogan ever could. This unity is not always visible during peaceful times. Like in any country, there are disagreements, frustrations, and criticisms. But when a foreign threat becomes real, that all changes. The people shift their focus from internal problems to defending their dignity. This instinct to protect the homeland, to stand together when the stakes are high, is something that cannot be easily broken. It is rooted in centuries of facing invasions, interference, and control from the outside world. This natural instinct for national unity is one of the key reasons why Iran remains undefeated. It means that no matter how much pressure is applied, the people are unlikely to turn against each other. They might suffer, they might struggle, but they do it together. This strength is invisible to outsiders who focus only on material power. But it is one of the deepest and most unshakable forces within the country. And as long as this unity exists, Iran will continue to resist anything that tries to break it. The Iranian people have developed a powerful culture of sacrifice and resilience that has become part of their national identity. This is not something that happened by accident or in recent times. It is the result of generations facing hardship and choosing to fight through it rather than surrender. The most obvious and painful example of this was the Iran-Iraq War in the 1980s. That war was not just about military conflict between two nations. It was about survival, about defending the land and the soul of the country. It was a time when sacrifice was not a word, it was a reality lived by millions. During that war, countless young men volunteered to defend their homeland. Many of them were teenagers, some barely old enough to understand what war truly meant. They left their homes and families, walked through minefields, and stood against tanks and bombs because they believed in something greater than themselves. Families sent their sons off not with fear, but with pride. Mothers prayed for their children to return, but they also believed that martyrdom in defense of the nation was honorable. This kind of mindset created a generation that understood pain as part of purpose. The stories of those years are still told today, not to glorify death, but to remind people of what they are capable of enduring. The culture of sacrifice did not end with the war. When heavy sanctions hit Iran and daily life became harder, the people once again showed their ability to endure. Jobs became scarce, medicine was harder to find, prices soared, and yet the spirit of the people did not collapse. Instead, they adapted. They found ways to keep moving, to help one another, to survive without losing their dignity. This is where resilience truly shows itself. Not in moments of strength, but in moments of weakness when giving up would be easier. The Iranian people have repeatedly chosen to resist, even when the world turned against them. This resilience is deeply rooted in Iranian culture and history. Over thousands of years, the country has been invaded by empires, manipulated by foreign interests, and challenged by internal struggles. Yet every time, it has come back stronger. This long history of facing adversity has created a belief that nothing is permanent, not pain, not defeat, not even poverty. The people have learned to be patient and to see struggle as a test. This mindset allows them to outlast their enemies, to continue moving forward even when progress is slow. Religion also plays a role in this ability to endure. Many Iranians draw strength from their faith, believing that suffering has meaning and that resistance is a form of spiritual strength. This belief turns pain into something purposeful. It helps people hold on during dark times and gives them the courage to keep going. When suffering is seen as part of a larger struggle for justice and independence, it becomes something that strengthens rather than weakens a society. Another important aspect of this culture is the support within communities. When hardship increases, people often turn to each other for help. Families stick together, neighbors support one another, and even strangers show acts of kindness. This social fabric creates a safety net, not in material wealth but in human connection. That is one of the reasons why, despite harsh economic conditions, Iranian society remains strong and functional. The people rely on each other, and that gives them the strength to keep resisting outside pressure. This ability to sacrifice and remain resilient is not something that can be defeated by bombs or sanctions. It is a quiet power deeply embedded in the hearts of the people. As long as they carry that strength, as long as they are willing to endure pain for something greater, Iran will continue to stand. This silent, unshakable resolve is what makes the country so difficult to defeat. It is not just about survival, it is about refusing to give up, no matter how hard the road becomes. Iran's strength is not only based on its military or economy, but also on the powerful role that religion and ideology play in shaping the mindset of its people. In many countries, governments rule only through law or political systems, but in Iran, there is a deep connection between leadership, belief, and purpose. For many Iranians, especially those who support the Islamic Revolution, their resistance is not just political, it is spiritual. This belief in standing against injustice and oppression gives them a mission that goes beyond defending borders or economic interests. It is about defending values and a way of life they believe in with their whole heart. The Islamic Revolution of 1979 changed not only the structure of government, but also the mentality of the people. The revolution was seen as a rebellion not just against a king, but against a system that was too dependent on foreign powers. The new leadership that emerged promoted the idea that Iran would no longer be a servant to any external force. From that moment, resisting foreign interference became not just a policy but a religious duty in the eyes of many. That spirit still exists today, especially among those who view the struggle as a sacred responsibility. This kind of ideological commitment cannot be shaken by threats, sanctions, or isolation. When people believe they are defending something holy, they become almost impossible to intimidate. It creates a mindset where hardship is accepted and even embraced if it means protecting the values they believe in. For many, the pain caused by sanctions or military threats is not a reason to surrender, but a sign that they are on the right path. This way of thinking gives the people extraordinary patience and determination that many outsiders do not understand. The leadership in Iran often speaks in the language of resistance, justice, and dignity, and for a large part of the population, those words carry real meaning, whether one agrees or disagrees with the policies of the government. The fact remains that a deep ideological and emotional connection exists between many people and the system. This connection strengthens national unity during times of crisis and creates a strong shield against psychological warfare or foreign propaganda. It also ensures that the people are not easily turned against their leaders through pressure from outside forces. This ideology is not limited to inside the country. Iran sees itself as a voice for oppressed people across the Muslim world. Whether in Palestine, Lebanon, Yemen, or Iraq, Iran positions itself as a supporter of those who are resisting foreign domination. This gives Iran influence far beyond its borders and adds to its strength. It creates loyalty and partnerships based not only on politics but on shared beliefs and struggles. These bonds are not easily broken because they are built on emotion, faith, and mutual respect. For the Iranian people, this sense of being part of a larger struggle brings a powerful sense of identity. They do not see themselves as isolated or weak. They see themselves as part of a resistance movement that stretches across nations. This larger cause gives them hope even in dark times. It gives meaning to the pain they endure and motivates them to remain strong when it would be easier to give up. When a nation is motivated by something deeper than politics or material gain, it becomes extremely difficult to defeat. Iran's ideology may be seen as controversial by many in the West, but for millions of Iranians, it is a source of strength. It teaches them that they are not just individuals trying to survive, but part of a mission to protect their faith, their culture, and their independence. This belief system cannot be bombed or sanctioned out of existence. It lives in the hearts of the people, and as long as it does, Iran will continue to resist all efforts to break its will. Iran has faced decades of economic sanctions, political isolation, and foreign pressure, yet it has managed to survive and even grow stronger in unexpected ways. One of the key reasons for this is its ability to adapt, become self-reliant, and build strategic alliances that increase its influence far beyond its borders. While many countries would collapse under similar pressure, Iran turned these challenges into opportunities to reduce dependence on outside help and to strengthen its internal systems. This kind of long-term survival is not just about managing resources, but about strategic thinking, innovation, and learning to work with those who share similar struggles. Over the years, the West has imposed severe sanctions on Iran, targeting everything from its banking system to its oil exports and access to international markets. These sanctions were designed to cripple the Iranian economy and create internal unrest. But instead of collapsing, Iran began investing in local industries. Farmers, engineers, scientists, and manufacturers all found ways to produce goods that were once imported. Iran developed its own pharmaceutical industry, built its own military equipment, and expanded its energy sector with domestic talent. This shift did not happen overnight, but the pressure forced the country to become creative and resourceful. The drive for self-reliance also influenced Iran's technology sector. Young Iranians began turning to innovation and entrepreneurship to solve everyday problems. Universities focused on research that had practical, national value. Iran's space program, drone development, and advancements in medicine are examples of how the country redirected its energy inward. What was once seen as a disadvantage, being cut off from global markets, became a reason to strengthen what already existed within the country. This ability to adapt under pressure made Iran more independent and harder to control. At the same time, Iran did not isolate itself completely. It built strong relationships with other countries that were also facing Western pressure or that shared similar interests. Nations like Russia, China, Venezuela, and others began to see Iran as a valuable partner. These relationships are not always based on friendship, but on shared goals and strategic needs. Through these alliances, Iran found new markets for its oil, new sources of technology, and political support in international forums. It began trading in alternative currencies and developed new ways to bypass traditional financial systems. This flexibility helped Iran reduce the impact of sanctions and expand its reach into global politics. Iran also created influence networks in the region by supporting groups that share its vision of resistance and independence. Through its connections in Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, and Yemen, Iran gained allies who support its goals and resist foreign interference in their own countries. These networks are not just military, they include cultural, religious, and political ties that deepen over time. This kind of influence allows Iran to shape events beyond its borders and makes it harder for its enemies to isolate it. Even if governments in the region are pressured to stand against Iran, the support it has built among people and communities continues to grow. What makes Iran difficult to defeat is that its strength does not only lie in its government buildings or military power, but in the mindset of its people and the strategies it has used to survive. The country has shown that when one path is blocked, it can create another. When doors are closed, it builds its own. This refusal to depend on those who try to control it is what gives Iran a level of freedom and resilience that many other nations do not have. It is not just surviving, but building a future on its own terms. As long as it continues to adapt, build partnerships, and rely on its own people, Iran will remain a powerful force no amount of pressure can break.